Alright, in this video we fight the Ender Dragoon, and from there we just go to the end cities, explore those, really just get elytras from them. We can come back and loot the cities another day. I mean, we have the coordinates and everything. As far as the stories today, I was going to pick out ones that are pretty much school confessions, but as I'm reading a lot of the stories on Reddit, I just realized how freaked out some people are and how crazy a lot of these stories are, and how some people, there's just a lot of Sweet Home Alabama activity that is going on with these people on this app, on this website. So I try to keep it tame, try to keep it somewhat YouTube friendly. Some of them kind of do tote the line, but for the most part, it's pretty tame. Because like I said, if you want to see worse ones, you can go to Reddit yourself. People are insane on there. But other than that, enjoy the video. Like and subscribe. Thank you for being here. The first story. Hooked up with my high school teacher. True story. You won't believe me because it's Reddit, but here we go. I'm from the UK. This was the last year of high school, age 16. Long story short, I had a hookup relationship with my business teacher. She was a newly qualified, fit AF, and similar nationality to me. Let's call her Miss P. She was 24 at the time, and I was 16 looking back. She definitely groomed me, but I loved it. Miss P brought me a separate phone to my personal one. She would order me takeaway and stuff and pay for my weed. She would book me taxis to come see her at her friend's house. A couple times after we effed, she would just cry as we cuddled. Looking back, it was actually some F stuff. The schmex was amazing, though we would F like absolute animals, and she taught me a lot about how to please women down there. Now here's the effed up part. Miss P also got me to take pictures of the exam papers and bring it back to her so she could guide the class. This was one of those exams where you do an hour a day in the exam hall, go back to class, and come back the next day. Like I said, she definitely groomed me, but at the same time, she was going through a lot and heartbroken over her long-term boyfriend. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she manipulated me. It all seemed real to me at the time. The only person I told at the time was my older sister. She was livid. But at the same time, our situation was kind of messed up. Majority of the time, it was just me and my sister at home. And looking back at the house, so I guess my situation got swept under the rug till this day. She's the only person I've told. I didn't tell any of my friends at the time. I wasn't stupid. I knew word would spread and Miss P would drill it into me that no one could find out. This is not some Reddit fantasy BS. I know it's an effed up situation, and me writing this out has definitely made me realize she groomed me, lol. Oh well, hooking up with your teacher is every boy's dream, and at least I can say I've done it, so yeah, thumbs up. Now 8 years on, I found her on LinkedIn, she's killing it, so I don't think I'll tell anyone, but at least I told Reddit. I kinda got it off my chest. I'll tell my kids one day too. Sorry for the bad grammar and punctuation. This isn't something you should be proud of. It always blows my mind, the stuff that people are proud of. It's like a girl walking out of a bar and be like, I just slurped on 7 dudes. It's like, why are you proud of this? Why are you smiling? Why are you telling everybody? Shame used to, exist back in the day, but I guess not anymore. And of course he's anonymous, so he can say it openly, but making light of the situation, making excuses for her. She even knew she was doing wrong because she drilled it into your head not to tell anybody. She bought you a phone. She was doing all this behind the back. And like you said, you were manipulated. But to you, it was your dream. To you, it's LOL. To you, thumbs up. You're going to tell your kids about it. I don't think this is something to brag about. But hey, who am I to tell someone how to react in a certain situation? And you being happy that she's killing it now in life is kind of, Yeah, Miss P sucks. Miss P sucks. It's crazy because she got away with it because you aren't going to tell anybody. She's not going to tell anybody. So she did something pretty crazy. Just kind of got away with it. I don't know the laws in the UK, so maybe it is legal. I don't know. Legal on paper at least, but morally, Miss P blows. Hope she buys a pair of shoes and it's just 2 left shoes in a box. Yeah, again, it's a lot of coping here. Don't make excuses for her BS. Don't make excuses for her nonsense. She took advantage of you, my boy. You said you were 16, so 8 years later, so now you're 24, and you still kind of think it's funny, so I don't know. We'll see if you have the same mindset 8 more years from now. But good luck to you, and I hope Miss P, I don't know, falls on a knife. The next story. I beat my meat to a girl at school confession. So basically our school got this new type of software and it lets us see other students if we want. And I had my cam off and I saw this girl. Her name is Anesthesia, like the effing drug, LMAO. It's a weird name, I guess. And then I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if I jerked off in class right now? Like I get high off jerking, like you get high off anesthesia when you're in the hospital. I didn't sleep for 48 hours, and I guess I wasn't thinking clearly, so I started touching myself for the whole class, which is like an hour. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. Why am I so horny all the time? I feel bad about it. It's not like anyone will know anyways, and I don't think she would mind though. Should I do it again? I just have like a sneaky suspicion that this dude just talks like Mineta from My Hero Academia. Like sounds like he's a snotty nose and a lisp. You asking at the end. I don't know, it's just weird. Again, it's one of those things, it's like someone is happy about something that's very weird. It's like, why? And how do you know she wouldn't mind though? What's going on? Everyone below the post is like, please don't do it again. This is really weird. Yeah, man. This post is 5 years old, so I hope he's reflected on life and realized how weird it was. And he's not doing stuff like this now, but who knows? The next story. I'm a 31-year-old male, just slept with a high school 18-year-old female, unknowing to me. Say what you guys want. In California, that's legal age of consent, LOL, and that's all that matters. Anyways, I was on a certain app just browsing around when I came across this gorgeous girl. Her bio did, in fact, say 21. Didn't question it since it seemed to match her face. So basically, I slid in her DMs. Came to find out Thursday was her birthday. Since I just got paid on Wednesday, I had some extra cash to spend. I decided to ask if I could take her tomorrow, which would be Friday, February 4th, 2022. Out on a date since it was her birthday. She said she was super down, but not until next week since she was going to LA for a family trip. I said I understand, and we definitely planned something for the next week. A few more hours of back and forth, and she straight up asked me if I can give her some cash. I told her I don't pay for punani. She said just to think about it as a birthday gift. In return, she would show me her birthday outfit, if you know what I mean, LOL. I thought about it and said F it. I ain't paying for punani as much as I'm giving her a birthday gift. I agreed to pick her up at 10 p.m. since that's when her dad was asleep. After I picked her up, gave her 100, and then we drove around and chatted some more. Also smoked some weed. About an hour after we were hanging out, we found a nice little spot and decided to F around. Let me tell you, she was amazing. I don't know what they're teaching these kids, but her head game was amazing. Alright. Although I had to show her how to face F, LOL, after her jaw got tired, I decided to put it in, Bondum of course. I thought her head game was good, but her punani was even tighter. Never felt punani that tight and wet. About 30 minutes into it, she asked if I could give her some more cash, since she really needed it for her trip. I really didn't want to, but I was kinda in the zone. Yeah, but not if you don't take this Bondum off. I like to F bareback. She paused for a second and said, yeah, but one condition, don't bum in her, since she is not on birth control. I said yeah and took my Bondum off, and shite got even wetter. Punani was wetter. So about an hour after I took the Bondum off, I felt I was bumming. I told her I was bumming, and she said to stop and pull out. I straight up told her, shut up, I gave you more money. Cause at this point, I didn't give a F. So because she could even say anything, I pushed deep inside her and loaded her punani up. She was a little bit upset at first, but after she settled down, after she said I had to help her get the morning after pill. I said, yeah, I can help, and she felt relieved. As we were getting dressed, she then dropped the bomb on. She starts to talk about school and says, so what time can you pick me up after school? I said after 5 p.m., but when I asked what school, she said, high school. My jaw dropped at this point, and I said, wait, high school? I thought you were 21. How old are you? Her reply was something like, I'm sorry, I had to change my age so I can make the profile. At that point, I'm freaking out, so I asked to see her ID, and sure enough, she turned 18 that very same night. At first, I felt a little bit upset and tricked, but now thinking about it, it was probably the best punani I ever had. It also felt nice to be told, you're the biggest one I ever had inside me, LOL. That being said, I got her the morning after pill, right before she left for her trip. Now she's begging to see me again. Said this time it'll be on the house. And the biggest loser award goes to this guy. The fact that you're happy that an 18-year-old bragged about that you're the biggest she has ever had is kind of sad. So you, a 31-year-old man, is very happy that you're bigger than your competition, which is young men going through puberty, bragging about your meat size. Your literal competition is 15, 16, 17-year-olds, if she was getting busy, during those years of her life. Congratulations, I guess. The fact that you're bragging about this entire situation is also kind of sad. This is something you probably should have took to your grave. Obviously, is there anything wrong legally? No. Morally, it can be argued between people. Some people, people in your camp don't give a damn. Most people will see it as weird. For example, liking lollies, it's not illegal. It's very weird. This is one of those situations. It's not illegal. It's very weird. Her asking you not to do something and you doing it anyway. I don't know if that's something you should admit either. And the sad part is the amount of people in the comments below who are just clowning this dude for being a weirdo and being a loser that he is, bragging about this experience, how he did what he did to this girl. And he's just getting so defensive, talking about he can prove messages. He'll put money on the messages being true and in the situation being true. Which again, biggest loser goes to you. This is weird. And my thought process too is I feel like you being 31 and still having this mindset of where you're going out hooking up, I feel like that's a place I would never want to be. That doesn't sound fulfilling. That doesn't sound like a happy life. It sounds like it sucks. Like I could just tell by typing this out, you felt like the greatest person to ever live. You said you don't care what people think anyway. And like I said, it proves in the comments of the replies that you're giving to people. You don't care. You're very proud of this experience in your life. You're weird, man. You're weird. You told her to shut the F up. I gave you more money, so I'm going to do whatever I want with your body, even though she instructed you not to. There's a word for that. I don't know if you know it. It just seems like you're just stunted in your growth, because even like the punctuation and spelling in this is off. The way you spelled although, because for the most part, it seems like you tried to type this out. And for the most part, I guess it's decent for someone throwing it up really quick. But then things like although and all that, I don't know. You just seem like you're stunted in your development. Your brain is not what a 31-year-old's brain should be, because I don't think the overwhelming majority of 31-year-old men would get on the internet and brag about an experience like this. I hope you figure things out, and I hope that girl definitely has daddy issues. Oh my god. It's just a sad situation. It's just kind of gross, dude. Kind of gross. The next story. I did something in middle school that I regret to this day. When I was in middle school, I got involved with these really effed up kids that influenced me so much. They convinced me that if I am truly their friend, I would stick a sticky note that has "slave for sale for bucks" written on it on one of our colored teachers. And to this day, I regret it, even though I was only 12 and was literally brainwashed by that group. I still regret that and think about every day. I did send her flowers that I brought with my own allowance once I realized how effed up was the shite I did. I do hope she forgave me, because I'm not sure I forgive myself. I hope she wasn't a language arts teacher, because, God, some of you probably think I can't read. This is just how some people write. But you were 12. I don't know how old you are writing this, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. On top of, you gave her flowers, so that was you extending the olive branch saying you were sorry. I feel like you should let it go. You were a kid. Forgive that dumb kid and grow up, just like someone kind of brought out down below in the comments. You didn't hurt anybody. You were just a dumb kid, so I would just let it go. But peer pressure, side note, peer pressure is a whole hoe and a half. I remember when I was in elementary school, there was this really fat kid in our class, and everybody sat there and made fat jokes about him. Then I remember I normally was the quiet kid that kind of minded my business. And on this very day in particular, I decided to chime in. And I made a joke. These kids all sat there, looked at me, and went straight to the teacher, bro. I had to sit in silent lunch. From that day forward, bro, it was on sight. I wanted to fight those kids so bad, but they never really gave me a reason outside of that. Peer pressure, bro. That was my first and probably one of my only and last experiences with peer pressure. I was trying to fit in, and I ended up looking goofy, sitting in silent lunch, quiet by myself. Cheese pizza. You feel me? The next story. High school girls' asses. Was driving past the high school yesterday when it was letting out, and I couldn't stop staring at all of the teenage girls' asses. Nowadays, all of them seem to wear tight-fitting leggings or yoga pants that accentuate their asses. I know they are teenagers, but man, some of them have nice, firm butts. I'm 30 years old, and I truly don't care. A nice ass is a nice ass. You know what's crazy about this dude? He probably looked at the clock on his car and he made sure for the next forever on that he was driving by the school at this time every single day. He was pissed when it was summer vacation or when there was any breaks. And see, the thing is, you knowing they're high schoolers is what makes it weird. If you go to the mall and you see a bunch of women in a group or a bunch of teenage women in a group or teenage girls in a group and you're staring at them, as soon as you know how old they are, that's when it becomes weird. If you can't tell, obviously. Because fair, there are some points where it's like, whoa, I didn't even know you were... There's a lot of people like that, even famous people in the past. On both ends. People that look younger than what they are and people that look older than what they are. It exists on both ends. Like I said, of course, it's only bad when they're younger than what you think they are. But like I said, it's the fact that you know and you say, hey man, a nice ass is a nice ass. It's like, it's the same as like when an old lady sees a little boy and she's like, ooh, he gonna be a lady killer. It's like, oh man. Again, if you saw a girl at the mall and you thought she was pretty, you walked up to her and said, hey, I think you're beautiful, yada yada yada, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 16. At that point, you just gotta have a good day and walk away. Anything more than that is weird. And like I said, in this situation, you're driving by a school. You know these kids. I mean, yes, granted, are some of them possibly 18? Yes. But like we were saying with the dude earlier, you're 30. They're 18. Not illegal. Very weird though. This post is from 8 years ago. That's when I was in high school, bro. That's crazy. I think I was a junior 8 years ago. Again, you knowing is the weird part. If you don't know, you don't know. If you genuinely don't know, you don't know. This is a school. And like I said, he probably drives by there at the same time every day, pissed off when it's a break. The last story for today. My teacher literally gave us instructions, watched us follow them, then called our work bad. Make it make sense. Honestly, don't even know what to say right now. I'm just sitting here staring at my paper in pure frustration. So today in class, my teacher gave us the instructions for our latest assignment. They were super specific, or so I thought. I followed every single step exactly how they said to do it. I even double checked with the person next to me to make sure I wasn't crazy, and we both agreed we are doing exactly what was asked. Then the teacher walks around to check our progress. They look at my desk, sigh, and literally say, "This is bad. Why did you do it this way?" Because you told us to. When I tried to explain that I was just following what they said 5 minutes ago, they just hit me with the, well, you should have known that wouldn't work for this topic, or you need to use more common sense. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the instructions you just gave were actually a trap. It's so demotivating to put in effort only to be told it's wrong because the teacher changed their mind or didn't explain it right the first time. Has anyone ever dealt with this? How do you even respond without sounding like you're being disrespectful? Even though the story isn't necessarily going with the theme of the video, I wanted to choose it because it made me think of something happening recently, which I'm going to answer his question as well. I was just in the exact same situation. That's why I chose this story. So by trade or by work, what I do for work is I'm an electrician. And typically, I work on houses and I work on commercial buildings. Is what I'm comfortable with doing, what I'm certified to do. I'm not certified to do generators. I've never done a generator before. So recently, one of my managers texted me at 8 o'clock at night and asked me, hey, somebody just called out. We need somebody to do a generator. Are you willing to do it? We'll make it worth your while. So pretty much they're saying, hey, if you do it, we'll take care of you. I said, hey, I've never done a generator before. I don't feel comfortable doing generators. They said, we'll make it worth it. You're a smart guy. You'll figure it out. We'll help you, walk you through it. So I wake up early that morning. I head to the shop. I get all the material for the job. And my manager sits down with me and gives me the whole entire game plan. Cool. We get to the house. Long story short, it takes all day. We get there at 9 o'clock. By the time everything is done and we're ready for testing, it's 9 o'clock at night. So we get there at 9 a.m. Now it's 9 o'clock p.m. It's a giant job. Not really going to get into the innards of it because it wouldn't really make sense to most people. Long story short, we're doing the testing. We cut power to the house. The generator automatically turns on. Everything in the house is on. Everything is running smoothly. Finally, so on the generator itself, there's a little control pad that you can read gives instructions, say what's going on, if it's operating normally and all those things. On the controller, it says low battery. We call our manager because, again, me and the guy that I'm with have never done generators by ourselves. We've worked on a few that are already installed, but we've never done the whole entire shebang ourselves. So we get to the point. So we call my manager and say, hey man, it's throwing up a code saying low battery. And basically the battery is literally like a car battery. So he's like, oh man, earlier today somebody else had a bad battery. You might have to go get a battery. Again, at this point it is 9 o'clock. AutoZone, O'Reilly's, all those stores that sell these type of batteries are closed. So we're like, oh man. So he says, hold on, let me call the generator manager and see what he thinks. Because my manager, he's only done a handful of generators himself, so he's not, 100% sure what's going on. So the generator manager calls us and says, oh, you need to do this, this, and that. We did what he said, word for word, bar for bar, line for line. Next thing you know, everything breaks. The generator doesn't work anymore. It's throwing up an error code saying there's a wiring mishap. We did everything he told us to do. So I felt the frustration when reading this story. We followed his directions to the T, just like you followed your teacher's directions to the T, and everything blew up in disaster. So I've been in the exact same situation. That's why I chose this story. Long story short, instead of the generator, when power cuts, it coming on automatically, now you have to turn it on manually for the time being. And this was during like a big winter storm that came through. So people were really worried about their power going out. So the homeowner, he was pretty cool, but situation was very stressful. Followed the directions to the T, and everything got worse. Because before everything was working, we just had an error code. Now nothing works. So, dude, I'm with you 1,000%. You did what the teacher said, and they got mad at you. Same thing happened to us. We told the dude on the phone, we did exactly what you said, and everything broke. And he was like, obviously you didn't. And he started getting snappy with us. And at that point, we stayed there for an extra 2 more hours. I didn't get home until midnight that night. It was just an all-around bad day. So if you're going to give instructions to somebody, be clear and know what you're talking about the first time, so we don't have to double back on things. And then going back to the generator, somebody came back the next day, because this was on a Friday too, and I only work Monday through Fridays. So somebody had to come on Saturday, somebody else who was more qualified, fixed it for the time being, and then everything was smooth from there. But other than that, never doing generators again. If you made it this far in the video and you enjoyed my little rant, I really appreciate you. Thank you for making it here. Thank you guys for all the support I've been getting recently. It really means a lot. You really guys are really making a young man's dreams come true. I always told my parents I wanted to be a YouTuber, and now seeing it actually grow into something has been very cool, and it brings a smile to my face. So I really appreciate you again if you made it this far in the video. Please drop a like and subscribe, share the video, leave a comment down below. What's your favorite story? What are your thoughts on your story? What are some similar stories to any of the stories in this video? That's pretty much it. I hope you have a beautiful day. I love you. Peace.